Salut miteinander. Welcome back. We're now on to Chapter 6 of Beatrix Potter's The Fairy Caravan. Zarifra the Dormouse sat upon a hazel twig that lay upon the moss. She stitched busily. She was making the gold and scarlet pocket handkerchief into a robe for Tuppeny. Tuppeny sat opposite to the Dormouse, holding two sides of a handkerchief while she sewed them together. "It is a long seam, Zarifra. Shall I tell you a story to pass the time?" "That would be lovely, Zarifra." "Let me see, what shall it be? I will tell you about Little Mouse." "Who was Little Mouse, Zarifra?" "I don't know, Tuppeny. She was just a little mouse, and she was asked to a wedding, and she said, 'What shall I wear? What shall I wear? There's a hole in my old grey gown, and the shops are shut on Wednesday.' You see, Tuppeny, it was the day before the wedding, and the shops were not open. So she said, 'What shall I wear? What shall I wear?' And while Little Mouse was wondering, there came to the door of her little house an old, buff green striped caterpillar man, with a band across his shoulder and a pack upon his back, and he sang, 'Any tape, any buttons, any needles, any pins, any hooks, any eyes, any silver safety pins, any ribbons, any braid, any thread of any shade, any fine spotty muslin today, He turned over the band over his head and stood the pack open on the doorstep, and showed Little Mouse his wares, and she bought fine spotty muslin from the caterpillar man. Little Mouse spread the muslin on her table, and she cut out a mop, cap, and tippet. Then she said, 'I have scissors and thimble and needles and pins, but no thread. How shall I sew it? How shall I sew it?' Then, by good luck, there came to the door of her house a hairy brown spider with 8 little eyes. He too had a pack, a tin box on his back, and his name was Web Spinner. He came and sang, 'Spinneret, the best you can get, reels and bobbins, bobbins and reels, white thread and black, the best in my pack. Come buy from Web Spinner.' So Little Mouse bought white thread, and she sewed her cap and tippet. Hold it straight, please, Tuppeny. And while Little Mouse was sewing, a large moth came to the door, selling silk spun fine, woven by the silk moth, who'll buy silk of mine. Her silk was apple green, shot with thread of gold and silver, and she had gold cord and silken tassels too. Little Mouse bought silk enough to make herself a gown, and she trimmed it with gold cord and tassels. And when she was dressed, attired in all her best, she said, 'How can I dance? How can I dance with the fair maids of France, with my little bare feet?' Then the wind blew the grass and whispered in the leaves, and the fairies brought Little Mouse a pair of ladies' slippers, and Little Mouse danced at the wedding. 'That is lovely, Zarifra,' said Tuppeny. 'I would have liked to see the dancing. Who were the fair maids of France, Zarifra?' 'Little prim white flowers, with white double ruffs and green stockings.' 'And the ladies' slippers? Were they flowers too?' 'Yes, Tuppeny, and so are the lamb's toes, and ladies' smocks and foxgloves.' 'Do foxes wear gloves, Zarifra?' 'Perhaps, but their real name is foxgloves, fairy gloves. The good folk, the fairies, wear them.' 'Tell me about the fairies, Zarifra.' 'Another time I will, Tuppeny. My seam is finished, and Jenny Ferret is boiling the tea kettle for tea.' Danke. Thank you for coming today. Hopefully we'll get the next chapter out next week. See you then. Auf Wiedersehen.